one of the greatest songwriters, music that changed the world. A little bit of information. As a teenager, an honorary doctorate from Berklee College of Music, guitar. Free Man in Paris album that I love. I love this album too. Her songs as paintings. Good evening, and thank you for stopping by Softwoods ASMR. Tonight I am sharing my love for Joni Mitchell, my love for her music, her words, her lyrics, her style, her technique, and her art. I have some books, as you can see right here. Some books. Some back here as well. And some vinyl. And also a CD that I've pulled from my shelves that we can explore together. And I also have this little notebook here where I have some notes about Joni Mitchell, and I'll jot down some more key points as we go along. So you probably know that Joni Mitchell is a brilliant musician, an absolute genius, singer, songwriter, and poet. If you are very young or haven't yet had the opportunity to listen to Joni Mitchell's music, I hope this video sparks your interest to go seek out her songs. So I'm going to talk about her life and then get into her style and technique and discography. So a little bit of praise from some other greats that I've written down in this notebook. Here. Rolling Stone magazine said about Joni Mitchell, one of the greatest songwriters ever. And Prince said, Joni's music should be taught in school. I agree with that. And Neil Young said, she's wonderful. She's one of the greatest artists of our generation. She may be the greatest artist of our generation. So, Joni Mitchell, when she was born, she was named Roberta Joan Anderson, and she was born on November 7th, November 7th, 1943, in Alberta, Canada. But she grew up in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and I think I read that she thinks of Saskatoon as home, though she has lived in LA, I think, for many years. At the age of 7, she started piano lessons. She started piano lessons, but they didn't last long, and she soon quit. She preferred to make up her own songs and, explore in her own way rather than study the works of other composers and in the strict realm of piano lessons. From a young age, she was known by those around her for her visual art talents. And like many children of that time, Joni Mitchell contracted polio, unfortunately. She was only 9 years old at the time. And she said that living through that experience, living through and surviving polio, gave her an artistic sensitivity, are her words, which is an excellent example of how enduring hardship can change a person and develop a strength. An early positive influence in Joni's life was a grade 7 teacher who encouraged her writing practice, and she later dedicated her first album to him. I think I have a little bit about that in this book here, which profiles many of the great legends, icons, and rebels. Music That Changed the World is the subtitle of this book. So there is a profile of her in here relevant to what I'm speaking of, which is her childhood and some of her early influences. I wrote down the dedication right here. On her first album, she wrote, "This album is dedicated to Mr. Kratzman, who taught me to love words." And I think there is a little bit of information in this book about that teacher's influence. And some other information about her life. Here we are. Isn't this beautiful? So something here he said to her, "If you can paint with a brush, then you can paint with words." In time, Joni would become one of the greatest poets of her generation. When she released her first album, the dedication read, "To Mr. Kratzman, who taught me to love words." Yeah. So we'll circle back to this. I have some other little quotes here I can read from just a little bit. She started on the ukulele before picking up the guitar. As a teenager in the 1950s, she loved listening to rock and roll. She went to Alberta College of Art for a year, but she didn't enjoy the courses enough to stay in the program. So she soon moved to Toronto in hopes of starting a career as a folk singer. She had very little money, and she also discovered she was pregnant by an ex from back in college. She gave the baby up for adoption, and during this time she also married another man named Chuck Mitchell. She moved with him to Detroit in the US. And although the marriage didn't last long, not much more than a year, her drive to pursue music, her musical dreams carried on, and she moved to New York City, joining the folk music scene there, and began performing and touring and gaining a reputation as a talented singer-songwriter, along with a solid following of fans. She signed with Reprise Records and recorded her first album, Song to a Seagull, in 1968. So that's the name of the album that had that dedication to her grade 7 teacher. While she's often thought of as a folk musician, her later albums explored rock and jazz and R&B and then pop and electronics. So she kept growing and changing as a musician. So a couple little things in here. I'll just go to these kind of captions on the side that say, Joni's song Woodstock captured the spirit of the Woodstock Festival and became its unofficial anthem, and she wasn't even able to be there. Over here it says, Joni is a talented artist. Joni is a talented artist and has painted many of her own album covers. Yeah. these words in bold over here. I'll describe her. Words of a true poet, restless creative soul, one of the greatest songwriters, musicians, and poets of any era, period. Before looking at her discography and talking about her musical style and technique, I'll fast forward for a moment to say that over the years to the present day, Joni Mitchell has achieved numerous honors and awards, including Grammy Awards and an honorary doctorate from Berklee College of Music. Joni was active, touring and producing albums till around 2007, when she gave up touring, but still participated in events and causes and did some interviews. She suffered some health issues around 2015 that took her some time to recover from, but she did return to performance in 2022 and again in 2023. And then this past Grammys show back in February 2024, where she performed Both Sides Now at the age of 80. She will be 81 this November. So I wrote this playlist here, and I was going to write 10 songs, but I wrote 11 songs that for me, are the ones would be maybe the top 11 songs, the ones I would highly recommend listening to, although there are so many more that I love. But what I found funny or interesting was that when I was writing these down, I looked up the years, and they're all her early years, like 1968 and 1970 and 71 mostly, up to 1974, which isn't to say that I don't also love her later music. I do, but I'm particularly fond of this period here. So her last performance that I know of anyway, where she performed at the 2024 Grammys, I think it's such a great one. Like, if you can look that up or look up an earlier version, she sang Both Sides Now. And if you look this up, Both Sides Now, I'm sure on YouTube, you could find her singing this when she was very young. And then to see her singing this song at the age of 80, it was just so powerful. It brought tears to my eyes and shivers to my skin, and just was so moving of a performance. You could really see her as the poet she is, the way she performed at 80. I've also written down Big Yellow Taxi, The Circle Game, River, A Case of You, California, Free Man in Paris, For Free, Tin Angel, Song to a Seagull, Chelsea Morning. And just thinking about these songs and her style, she's just known as such an innovative songwriter, and she has an inventive technique. She is known for her complex harmonies and rhythms and her open-tuned guitar, which is a non-standard tuning. So I'm just going to write down here style, and say here that she's known as an inventive composer, songwriter, and known for her open-tuned guitar, which, as I say, is a non-standard tuning. She has a unique, easily identifiable voice quality with a large vocal range. In her early years, she was a mezzo-soprano. A mezzo-soprano. And as she matured, her voice deepened, and yet she maintained that good wide range she's known for over the years. It's quite a deep voice now. Her poetic lyrics are often heartfelt, filled with reflection, as in the song Both Sides Now, a song filled with deep reflections, or wonder, or lament, as in River. That's a really sad one. But she also wrote protest songs, as in Big Yellow Taxi, and often narrative songs, songs that tell a story, such as Free Man in Paris. So I think I have Free Man in Paris on the album that I pulled from my collection. I don't know if you can see this, but this is like a raised lettering here. The title's up here. It says Court and Spark. You might not be able to see that, but it's raised right here. And this album, I think it has a few that are on my playlist here. So, yeah, it has Free Man in Paris. It has on it Help Me. It's fairly well known. I don't think I wrote that down here, but that's another good one. Yeah. This is a good album, but I do prefer this album, and I have another album that I love. I'll show you the cover. I have a few covers I can show you from this book here. So this one, Ladies of the Canyon. This one has For Free. I love that one. I don't know if it's as well known. Ladies of the Canyon. It has Woodstock. It has Big Yellow Taxi. The Circle Game. And you can see there's some of her art. It's like a sketch of her, like maybe a self-portrait, I think. And then inside here, you can see houses, and some hills of green, the sky up here. Yeah. I have a very huge CD collection because I am from that time, but I'm also from the time of vinyl and tapes, cassette tapes. I have many, many cassette tapes. So I'm going to show you a couple of other album covers that I have in this book over here called 1000 Record Covers. And I'm going to have a little sip of my ginger lemon tea. I put some honey in here too. I did flag over here. The pages where Joni Mitchell's album covers, just a few of them, are shown. So here's one. This one is Mingus 1979. That's a later album. I don't have this one. But here's the one that I was just showing you. Ladies of the Canyon. This is an absolute favorite here. Clouds. This is the one that Both Sides Now is on. I love this album too. And I think there's a later album here. Yeah. This is up here. It is Don Juan's Reckless Daughter, 1977. 1977. And I have a few more album covers I can show you in this book here, under here. So this is a book I highly recommend checking out, either borrowing it from a library or if you can purchase it. It's a good one. It's a really good one because it has her songs handwritten. You can see her songs are handwritten, and her drawings. Early songs and drawings. It says here, Morning Glory on the Vine. I'll read what it says here to give you a little idea what this book is about. In 1971, as her groundbreaking album Blue emerged as a singular commercial and critical success around the world, Joni Mitchell puzzled over what gift to give her friends that Christmas. The result was a handmade book with only 100 copies produced, filled with Joni's handwritten lyrics and reproductions of many of her stunning drawings, portraits, abstracts, random concert goers, and more. Each was given to a friend until now. The edition has remained private. Today, with Morning Glory on the Vine, Joni's long personal Christmas present is a present to all of us. So you can just see how thick this is. It's the kind of thing that you can, just sit back with a coffee in the morning and just leisurely read these beautiful lyrics over and over again. And study and become mesmerized over her art. So she's got there's an index back here, and I just want to say that this is a book recommendation. I want to respect the copyright, so just quick glimpses in here, showing you that at the back is an index of all the paintings, drawings, I should say, that are in this book. In the front, there's a special letter, a foreword, more so, from Joni Mitchell herself, describing what this book is all about. 2019. It's very, I would say, pretty recent. So, yeah, this is a beautiful, beautiful book. It is evident in her lyrics that she is a visual artist, a painter, because she word paints her songs with an artist's eye, and we, the listeners, can almost see her songs before us as paintings. We can almost see her songs as paintings. So, I hope you enjoyed this soft study of Joni Mitchell's life and works. And I hope it inspires you to listen to more Joni Mitchell in your life. Until next time, please take good care of yourself.